Right in the middle there, you'll be on the camera. Right, the camera's right up there.
There we go, perfect.
Can you see them?
Come
closer.
Come on, closer.
If they want to face them, they can, otherwise you just see their backs.
You want to face up there, people can see who you are. There you go. Camera's up
There's
there.
a camera up there.
Ready?
Go ahead.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Well, first thing we're going to do, we're going to make a presentation. And all of you should have your books. We'll do the front page first, and that would be Emma Richards. We're going to give you a Barnes & Noble $25 gift card, and I want you to both, I really like both of these pictures this year. And the years in the past, they've been nice. Anybody else have anything?
So these are the designs that we picked out of a lot of designs that were submitted to the school board for the front and back covers of the school district annual report, so.
So, Emma, please come up, and I'll give you your card, and we thank you very much.
Congratulations, it's beautiful.
There you go. And Bella, come up, and thank you very much. It's a $25, and this one's for the back page.
Yep.
Wonderful job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything to say on the board?
No, thank you, they were really very good.
Okay.
They don't have to stay in here anymore if they
No,
don't want
you can stay if you like.
to. I don't know
You have
if you
school
will.
tomorrow, though, so you...
I have starving kids at home, I gotta go.
Okay, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Now was,
I heard that, Ann. I heard that. I love school board meetings.
is Back Bay here?
Not at this time.
Just not, moving on. Thought we was gonna have some questions for him. Going to,
Minutes?
public minutes for February 4th, 2020.
I will make a motion to approve them with some corrections that have already gone to Tammy.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Paul? Okay, well, we only got 3 people that were present at that meeting, Doug Shute, Peg Hurd, and Emily, I think.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, you wanna make the motion, Emily?
Oh, I was only at the first part, you're right.
Yep.
Okay, that'll be in a second, okay. With corrections. Peg?
Aye.
Emily?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's that.
That's one.
Moving on for, public, meeting, that was for Saturday, public hearing meeting, February the 8th, 2020.
I will make a motion to approve those. If I had any corrections, they went to Tammy.
I'll second.
Oh, yeah,
wasn't
because,
that
yeah, I was there, Paul was there, and Peg Hurd was there. Paul?
Aye.
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 All right. All right, thank you. All right, moving on. Public hearing, meeting minutes Wednesday, February the 12th, and everybody was there from what I could see.
I will make a motion to approve those with any corrections that have been sent to Tammy.
Second.
All right. Paul?
Aye.
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 All right. Non-public from Wednesday, February 12th, 2020. Same thing, so. Everybody was there.
I thought those were the ones we just did. I meant.
This is non-public.
We just did public.
Oh, I'll make a motion to approve the non-public minutes then.
Second.
Oh, that's all right.
Sorry.
I get mixed up. Peg?
Aye.
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 All right, thank you. All right, I think that's
Hey,
it.
Doug, do we want to do a public comment? 'Cause we just had a,
I didn't, oh, that's right, you're
we
right.
just had an announcement that.
Yeah, he wasn't here, I missed it, thanks. The public comments, just put your hands up and I'll recognize you. You can speak anytime you want. The board, says the board don't object. If you have any questions about what's going on, just... Okay. All right. Does anybody have any comments at the moment?
Not yet.
No, yeah, okay, all right.
Uh-oh.
Moving on. Okay, Earl, you're up.
Okay, thank you. As we all are aware, we're going through challenging times.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm just starting to get involved with local politics.
Okay, go ahead.
Could you introduce yourself first before you go on so I can start getting an idea of who people are?
Yeah, certainly, I guess we all can. I'm Earl Sussman, I'm the school superintendent, and here is a sheet of what we have here. So why don't I give this to you? Mr. Gorliski?
Ostrowski.
Ostrowski.
Thanks, sir.
Larry, would you like one?
I'll pass, find someone else.
Okay.
Does the
Well,
rest
while
of-
he's handing those out, yeah, I'll do this. My name is Paul Steer. I'm a school board member.
I'm Tammy Crandall, I'm just the minute
Just.
taker.
Just a minute.
Very important role.
Yes, it is.
Doug Shute, school board member.
Emily Meehan, school board member.
Peg Hurd, school board member.
Nathan
What?
Cassidy, business administrator?
And this is,
Well,
Not Bob Carrier.
He's another very important person.
camera operator.
camera
My name's Clint
technician.
Ostrowski, just so.
Welcome.
Sorry about
Welcome,
that.
thank you.
Okay, Earl, now
Thank you.
your floor is yours.
Okay, as we were saying, we're going through some challenging, and all we hear about in the news is what is going on right now. We've been working hard in terms of the staff in the admin team. I had sent a note out prior about this, and it went to all the homes. And tonight, we have some information that I gave out of all the places that we have planned for the remainder of the year. Trips that the students are going to take. John, if they want them, they can have them. These are trips that students have for the remainder of the year. And the staff had worked very hard on these. Here, they were part of this. Here you go, John, these are yours. And we sent these out to the state, and as you know, by the instant, we met today in Mackenzie, who has the trip going, as you well are aware. As we met, she was just saying that at 1:30, she got some more news on how things were going. So even as we are now, we await each instant for something else to occur. So at this point, also too, not that there isn't a ton of things out there, I thought I'd share this with you, and you could bring it to a new. Larry has one. Okay, so what we'll do now, also too, John and Jan and the administrative team were beginning to reach out to parents, just as all other schools are throughout our nation, with how we might keep the students involved in the event, and I don't want anybody to misconstrue it, that there's no plans to not have school at this point, but we wanted to be proactive, just like sending out the note and being aware that the event, rather than react to what happens, we wanted to be proactive. So let's do it one at a time. Trips first, the board here, so that you're thoroughly aware, and if you have some questions, the staff is trying to partake and be transparent and work together as a team. They've spent an extraordinary amount of time on this, and I want to commend them for it. And they're here tonight to discuss anything that you folks would like to talk about with them. Right now, like I said, the state has a list, the commissioner has a list of all this. This was sent out at the end of last week. He asked for it after the board packets were sent out. So this is, and I'm sure tomorrow morning somebody is going to ask for something else, and the whole spiral will keep on going. So at this point, why don't we do the trips first, and then John and Jan can speak a little bit about the new note that's going home to the parents to make them aware, because the staff, it was Mackenzie, Mary Ann Doan, and the administrative team and the school nurses, during the day today, we kind of brainstormed to be proactive. We're trying as much as we can to keep ahead of this. It's kind of like a storm, and you're trying to get the roads ready and all that prior to it. And just react and stay calm and do the things that you need to, that we need as it occurs. So at this point, trip-wise, why don't we take a look at that? I guess,
Earl, I have a couple of questions
Sure.
before we get, it'll apply to all of this whole list. Now, have we made deposits or anything? Is there any, okay, so
that's
that'll
what
apply to all
the
of
group is
them.
here.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
So, yeah, if you have some questions, we can, do you want to take the first one?
Well, it'd apply to all of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right.
So have we made monetary deposits to these places?
Yes, for Boston and New York.
Now, do we have vehicles where if something happens, you can get your money back?
No.
Oh, so we lose our money? Now, what if the government closes it down, you still lose your money?
No idea. I can't answer that one for myself.
Just curious.
I was able to work something out with the tour company for New York, and he's willing to extend our time, so he's able to, whatever, we talk about today, to possibly extend it, so he would reach out and give us more time so he could refund money. The only place is one location that he may not be able to, which would be a performance we're going to, but he's looking into that right now. But for New York, most of it, we would be able to get most of that back.
And
If we do it in time, though.
And the Portugal and Spain trip, refunds would not be possible, but students, if we fully cancel the trip, would receive travel vouchers, transferable vouchers for use on any future travel with this company. And they offer any number of tours to all sorts of different groups, college groups, etc. They also have other options in place if we need to make some decisions about changing dates, pushing the tour out to the summer or something, even pushing the tour to next year if that were something that needed to be considered. So we wouldn't be out of options, but monetary refunds are not going to be made.
So I assume they're being pretty flexible with this. You spoke with them and
Yes.
said, look, we're not going to put all these kids in harm's way. If we push this off to September, they would be okay with that.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know regarding New York.
But aren't some of these places, like in Boston, closing down? Like the museums and...
We're not going, we're going to the aquarium. I have not received any notification from them at this time. But I'm not, that's something that I know I can get refunded.
Oh, okay.
Like right now, they have a time frame, but I know that one's not as, I don't know, detrimental as like New York. Because I had looked at the clauses for the aquarium and the tour, the walking tour, and I know right now that, yes, I can get the money back. Actually, we deposited the school. I haven't sent the money to them yet, so they don't have that yet. New York, yes, they do have the money.
So travel insurance actually actually have a clause in it that says they don't refund for pandemics. It's always been in their clause, so, yeah, who knew? And Boston is definitely more fluid right now. I just spent 4 days down in Massachusetts, and there was a Biogen conference that apparently a lot of parents went to that are now spreading it, so, amongst their schools, places, yeah.
Irony of it.
Oh, they're spreading the
When I was
canola.
at, they had to close down for day and clean because there was a panic, so. So yes, the museums and Fenton Hall and Quincy Market may close, you know, we don't know.
And I can refund the students, that's not an issue with Boston, I can definitely send the money back to the parents on that. And I have everything documented to go.
Anybody else on the board, any questions before I go back to Earl?
I could, about Nature's Classroom, I really haven't checked on Nature's Classroom yet about refunds, but it's only our kids that are up there usually, so it really depends on, it's just our kids, so whether in the classroom or in Nature's Classroom, probably be better being outside, but, but I'll check on that. The other one, we're almost done with the ski trip. It's tomorrow, Friday, and then next Wednesday, so that'll be done quickly. And as far as any other trips, I only listed the 2 because the other ones are not confirmed, like end of the year beach day and all those things. Nothing has been planned, so.
Okay, Earl, I guess you can continue.
Yeah, so any more questions? Trip?
Can I add a little more on that? So
Sure.
for New York, we do a private bus. There's no public, the only place we do a public transportation is a boat ride in the harbor. And that's something the tour director is very flexible. We could change destinations where it's more of a cluster of people. We can swap things around. He's very willing to work with us on that. But that's the only time we're in a public transportation. Other than that, we go through Premier Motor Coach. It's our own bus. Nobody else gets on it but us. We've also been working hard. Like we've been getting hand sanitizer too because we're gonna make the Musette. So we've been strategizing too on what we can do. But he's definitely willing to shift. We could spend more time at Central Park. We are not in a huge cluster of people to explore other facets of the city.
Good.
And he reached out to me just like before the meetings, stating that. So he would be able to work with us, just to know that bus, other people are not on it except for us.
So how many do you have going to Portugal and Spain?
I have 7 students traveling, 3 adults, so 2 staff members and a parent.
Thank you.
In terms of, as she discussed, 3 of them are in their last year in 12th grade.
4 of them are
4 of them.
seniors, yes.
Yeah, 4 of
So
them.
then,
So that, she could speak to that. That
complicates
Yeah.
questions for them. I did actually just come from a meeting with my parents and travelers to discuss options. I do have parents who are concerned. I've got kind of a mixed bag of parents who have no interest in sending their kids anywhere right now, which I completely understand. And then I also have mostly my seniors who are saying, we go for it, we paid for it, we want to go. As a group, if we decide to make changes, I need to notify EF, the tour company, by Monday. This coming Monday, the 16th, is my deadline to make changes to the tour without penalty. If we decided to stick with the tour the way it is, which it seems like most of my parents are not on board with, and something were to change, travel advisories were to change, Spain were to become not safe to travel to, EF would work with us and make those changes in the future. Unfortunately, it being what it is, we have no idea what that future could look like. We could say we want to move this tour out to June, and for all we know, we could be dealing with a far worse situation come June. So we're just trying to give everybody all the information we can and try to make the best decision based on that.
Okay,
what is any input for us on this?
Can I add, after I did this, there's 4 more trips. Another field trip got put in, so Macbeth, there's the Rochester Performing Arts Day on April 17th. They want to take 30 students down to Macbeth from the drama English classes. solar sprint at UNH. I don't have a form for that yet, but I believe that is in May. I didn't put the middle school beach day on there because they go to the town beach and the state was more worried about things going farther out. And the senior trip, they still haven't put in a proposal. I've heard they want to go to Cape Cod or Rhode Island, but they haven't put anything into the approved book. So yes, we'll definitely take input and feedback.
I think we should do it on a case-by-case basis as time
Yeah,
passes, you
yeah.
know? It's hard to make a blanket decision, okay, all trips are canceled, because who knows, by June, it could be a different in another way, you know? I mean, as we know, we've heard it, I mean, China's on the downslide now, more people are well than they're sick. So by June, I mean, that's 3 months from now, maybe it's different, it could be worse, you know, it's like, wow, we're canceling that's, you know, obviously I don't want to feed into the hype, but I don't want to obviously endanger anybody either, so I don't know if we should do it on a case-by-case basis with, you know, red, yellow, green. Well, I mean, red, obviously, you have to know by Monday, for one. I mean, make decisions on a couple of the ones that are real close, and then beach day, I mean, we have a little time. It's not like that's really intensive, you know, I mean, in Boston even, I mean, it's close enough where we could say, you know, just New York City and overseas, I think, are the two big ones. And then go the other ones case by case as they get closer. Because most of these are in May and June, you know.
I would have to know for Boston though, it's 3 weeks prior to the trip, is what they said.
Is that the grade 7 trip?
I haven't sent the money yet.
The
so-
grade 7 trip?
Yes,
That's May 8th.
Okay, so we can hold off on that one.
yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking the April board meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
So as Paul is saying, it's very prescriptive. You know, we gave this out just because we're embarking on it now, just like every other school is. So we can put kind of a timeline with Jan and John and staff, timeline as to when we have to make the decisions on them. And it's going to be constantly, it'll change almost as we speak.
Yeah.
On the way over, I heard the president was talking at 8 tonight, so he's gonna be addressing the overall office, so that may have an impact too.
I know.
Closing down, you know, the boards and not wanting people to go out. Because that's what the other countries have done. I mean, Italy like shut down, nobody goes in or out, you know, so.
The news as of 3 o'clock today was suggesting that he may be placing travel bans to Europe, basically, non-essential travel to Europe. So that could.
Put the kibosh on it anyway.
Yeah, that could, you know, any decision making could be taken out of our hands very quickly
Exactly, yeah.
at this point.
And then we have the New Hampshire governor, right? Who just made an announcement right before the meeting started, saying, you know, not to get too hyped, but he's not fully recommending all cancellations. But I do think we need to look at both sides of everything. You know, I have had a kid get ill on a trip, and we need to bring him to a hospital. They're gonna get their medical care, we're gonna bring him to the hospital. If we need to have somebody stay back in the hotel, I've got plenty of staff, so I'm still able to do medications and have somebody stay back. And I've had to do that before. So whatever we need for the safety of the kids, you know, we'll do everything to provide that also.
So I guess, like, going back to what Paul said as far as Mackenzie, in the event that either the state or the chief executive does not ban it, what would be the input that the board would give us as an administration, as a staff, regarding the trip, her trip?
The one to Portugal?
Yeah.
See, the thing is hard, it's, like I said, it's hard to answer that. Because it says, I mean, when is the trip? April 22 to May 3rd?
Yes.
So he may not put a travel ban on tonight, but next week he may.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, I'd like to say, okay, hey, would they be willing to go in July? Once it's over the hump in Europe. But, I mean, how can, without a crystal ball, I don't know. I feel bad saying no, but, I mean.
But you also don't know how many European countries are closing their borders
Right.
too. So you may not even be able to get in.
Yep.
You can get out, but you can't get in. And then you can't get back in.
And that was actually one of the biggest concerns that parents voiced
Yeah.
tonight was, so what if you get there and you're placed under quarantine?
Big version of a
Yeah,
cruise
Quarantine in
ship.
a foreign country for 14
Oh,
days.
yeah.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah,
Big
yeah.
And then
version of a
quarantine
cruise
till you
ship,
come
yeah.
home.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
And then get a huge bill from the government, because that's what they're doing.
So-
Yeah, that's a good point.
but you have to know by Monday, you said? You have to
I
let them
do,
know?
and so what I told my group is that I would, after kind of hearing input from the board tonight, that I would send out an email of everything we've discussed, everything that was discussed here this evening, and that I was just going to look for feedback from each individual family, and that hopefully by Friday, we've made a decision as to what our plan is. It seems very likely to me that the plan as a group is to try to reschedule for a later date. Whether we're looking at June or next year, that I don't know, but we would have to make that decision pretty quickly. So they were all open to that approach at this point.
yeah, I hate to see the seniors.
They're
Not
the
go?
toughest group. They really are.
I know, but if you could do it, like the end of June, beginning of July, if they don't have jobs and stuff, and or plan it next year when they are in college and they're on break.
Which doesn't align with ours, unfortunately.
Oh,
So
gosh
we tried
darn.
that.
So by mid-August.
Yeah.
Well, they go back to
Before they
school.
start school.
Yeah, they start school
mid-August.
mid-August.
So
So
before then,
yeah,
between May and August, if we could fit it in, it'd be really good, you know?
yeah.
Spain in July?
What?
I mean, that was what
Spain
I
in
told
July.
them. Portugal and Spain are beautiful in August.
Yeah.
Mediterranean is gorgeous.
So I guess, so we have pretty good direction, you think, McKenzie?
I have a feeling that, I mean, if that's what the board is suggesting and recommending, that seems to fall pretty closely in line with what my parents and families were expressing this evening, so.
Good.
Portugal is pretty. I did a TDY there.
Pardon?
Portugal is pretty. I did a TDY there.
That means temporary duty pay.
Oh, thank you. Today only?
If someone who wants to get involved more, what would you do if you had a child going?
You don't wanna know. I would say timeout.
Yeah.
For the fact, you need to look at what's going on over in those countries.
Yeah.
My worst nightmare would be my child goes over there.
Yeah.
They get stuck there because of whatever reason.
Yeah.
Or they become sick and they get hospitalized, and they are there.
It's kind of what we're trying to,
Possibility, right?
yeah, trying to purvey
They
that.
get
We have to
critical,
look.
me
Yeah.
trying to get over there.
It may change tonight when he announces, hey, you know what, we're closing borders. It may
You know,
change everything.
I had a trip planned for the 20th on a cruise ship.
Oh,
Travel agent gave me 12 months. They didn't refund my money, but they said, hey, within a year, we'll make it good.
That's good.
good.
So, you
Hopefully.
got the seniors in mind, but tough choice. And I think it all lays on the parents. You know, students may want to go. It's a non-school trip, what I understand. So, what happens if half of them say we want to go and the other half says we don't want to go? What do you do there? You know, tough choices,
Thank
tough
you.
decision.
Thank you. All right.
Very good. Okay, next step, John, you and Jan can speak to our proactive thoughts in terms of this. If the worst scenario did occur, and again, we're not saying
Let's
that
start
this
with
will
what we talked
occur.
about today. One of the things to think about is that the blizzard bags are very difficult. You know, having the kids just have, work sent home for 2 weeks without any support or guidance, that's going to be very difficult. So we would, look at some other, like Rochester has their blizzard bags. It's all done by Google Classroom or online and so forth. So to start off, in preparation, as I said, that this is not, we're closing schools, but to start surveying parents to see who has internet and computer access, who has internet access but no computer, and who has nothing. So then we could start assessing if we, and with the permission of the board, to come up with a sign-out system with some of our laptops, like if people have internet access but they don't have a computer, signing out a computer to that family. And it could be just one if they have like 3 children, even new MES, so they have that. It's also safer for the staff because we're sending all these papers home and then bringing all the papers back. I mean, they're handling all these papers, so that's, not safe either. So this way, what we would do is just start to assess what the technology needs are if we close down for the community. So we would have that plan in place. And then, of course, we'd work with teachers to develop lessons in Google Classroom or online and so forth, which we do have, and if the board's okay with us doing that, signing out the technology and sending on to parents and so forth, we could start even with our early release day next week to start giving teachers time to come up with plans just to have them in place. More planned we have, less will happen, because what'll happen if they say close tomorrow, we'd be scrambling,
We do need a little lead time because our computers are set up so they get on the school Wi-Fi, but they can't get on any other Wi-Fi. It's kind of a security. If they got taken out of the building, you can't use them. So Brandon would have to tweak whichever ones we sign out to allow them to be used and get on a parent's Wi-Fi. And then the question also is, what is the liability if somebody brings one home and breaks it? So what the sign-out system entail? So those are some of the things for us to think about as well.
So have we talked to Back Bay about this issue?
No, we just really, we started brainstorming, and
Okay.
the first thing would be just to survey parents, just to see what the needs are, then we can address it with Back Bay.
Okay.
Yeah, we're sending this home, so just an awareness of where this comes from and being on TV, it kind of gives a perspective of what this is all about.
Now, I just have a question, because I know you mentioned Rochester, and they have, I'm not sure, you can't call it a law or a rule or whatever, but if just so many kids actually do the work, then the teacher gets just partial time for being in, quote unquote, in the classroom. So the teachers have to make up the time. So I don't know, I'm just
Well,
putting that
we-
out there as something that you might want to think about, that.
Well, that was a question that came up today, and
Okay,
that's what we
good.
wanted to ask you as well, but also, it's really gonna be what the government recommends. If it's a pandemic, then it is more that we're being forced to close. This is, what they're doing is, it's the state regulations to make up a day to have 80% involved with
Right,
it.
okay, yeah.
But if we're looking at a, federal pandemic and guidelines to
Forced
shut down
close,
schools,
okay, yeah.
that rule may not necessarily
Okay,
apply.
good.
It would be more of, okay, if only 80% of the kids do the work, then 80% get the credit. It'd be like the same thing of being in school, not just making up
Right.
days. Because all the assignments and all the instruction would be online, and
Okay.
they'd have to do them online. Things from, anything from like, we have like reflex math, or, all the online things. So it would be, if they don't do it, they don't get the
Right,
credit.
I guess I was looking more for the teachers, because I know that 80% thing, and,
Typically what they do is they would have them be available online, like from 8 to noon.
Oh.
So
Right.
Kids knew, but the schools that have closed down, I know, again, I've been in Massachusetts for 4 days, the governor ruled that staff would be paid
okay.
both for that time because they were being forced to close down for the coronavirus.
Okay, no, that's good to know, because I know that 80% rule is that your kids don't do, or 80% of your kids do not do the work, then, sorry.
So that's why it would be like an assignment, as he said, if the students don't do the work, they
Yep,
don't get the
good.
grade and they have to.
I just want to take care of the teachers.
But I just want to ask one other question, though. Say that we'd be closed down for 2 weeks, then we won't have to make those days up at the end of the year.
Correct, because you would be doing.
Has the
online
state made a
learning.
decision on that? Does anybody?
Well, if you're doing the online learning, then you're basically doing your school day.
Yeah, it's
That's
covered.
counting as
It's
the
covered.
school day.
Yeah.
Now, was that going to include all staff or just the teachers?
It would include,
So that was a question our parents were concerned about, was
Yeah.
if the school closes, do they get paid? 'Cause-
Bus drivers and janitors and...
And they kind of rely on that money, so, that was a concern for them.
Mm.
Maybe that's something we, as a board, ought to discuss in non-public.
well, we were basically talking about how do we deliver instruction. That was the first step. What we talked about, we didn't talk about all the financial pieces that go with it and so forth, so we.
Because it wouldn't be
That's why
fair.
it
Gotta
takes
start
a long
somewhere.
time to start
Gotta start
planning, that's
somewhere.
why we want to start
This
the
is an
survey.
awareness, and again, we're sequential. We won't want to put the cart before the horse or whatever, like Paul was saying. let's look at each of the trips as they come up. Let's look at how this whole scenario plays itself out. Right now, we're just being proactive
I
and
think
taking a
I
look
think
at it.
what I'm talking about is not about the trips, I'm talking about closing the school.
Yeah, that's what I meant, like, is we.
He's saying in all of the things we're discussing. Let's start with the first, and sort of the first concern is, how do we make sure kids don't have to make up 2 days, and then we work out the
The
contractual
compensation
obligations.
factor,
Because
yeah.
if we get home tonight at 8, he says close all the schools for 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we'll probably have a plan. You know, I mean, it would be,
Right.
you know, so we have to be prepared, and that's part of what we're doing. And working out all these logistics, like the financial pieces, all that,
Yeah.
it has to keep going until, yeah, the close or don't close. So
So-
we'll have it in place.
I don't-
So if anything else comes up, we're all set.
So are you folks, okay with what our staff's plans are?
I think it's a great
Yes.
idea. I think they're doing a good
Very
job,
much so.
so,
Yeah.
yeah. keep
All
going.
right, the last thing I have is last night, Chris, the moderator, had spoken with Doug Shute, and then Doug Shute had him speak to me, and basically, he feels that the voting has outgrown the church, and he had asked on September 8th, November 3rd, and March 9th are the days of the votes. And today, as a draft, you have a draft there of the calendar for next year that, thanks to the staff, worked with us today, and the administrators and myself, and that's a draft of what next year's calendar would be. You're not voting on it tonight, you're reviewing it for the next time. So I just wanted to give you a little background and understand that we embedded the 3 days either as professional development or not having school, and that encompasses it. You can review it, call me and ask me questions and so forth. The administrative staff of the Teachers Association collaborated very well on it. Mary Ann Doan and Mackenzie helped a great deal with that, and I know that the gentleman in the back, this is his first time, but you know, to be aware of that the staff and the administration and the school board and people work very cohesively here and collaborate really well. And I'm glad that Paul had asked you what you thought, and feel free, because what you folks are saying, you are the taxpayer, and your voice is important too. And we assuredly make a decision and want to hear what everyone has to say. I don't know, did you receive this draft?
No.
Okay, we'll make sure you see it.
What is
Yeah.
that, what, you were talking about
I know why.
I'm so
Chris Jacobs
confused.
and
now you
those
went-
dates, and now you went onto the calendar, so I
Okay.
got confused.
That's the calendar.
What is this, though?
No, those are the 3 dates that are included
They want to
in
use the
there.
gymnasium.
They want to use.
They
the
want to
school
use
for
our
voting.
gym.
Oh.
You left that part out.
I'm
Yes,
sorry.
you did.
Now
I
we
am
get
so
it.
confused.
Light comes on
Yeah.
a Marblehead, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
There it is.
Sometimes I get ahead of myself, and
It's
I don't
okay.
even stutter
It's
when I
alright.
do it. Okay, so,
I had 3 hands here.
okay, let
That's what
let
that
me-
was, and I think you were.
Let
Yeah.
me finish. I think they all were looking for the
We
same
were, I was too, I'm gone.
clarification.
Figured it out.
Checking for understanding, okay? Okay, so with that being said, we were able, Chris asked for those 3 dates last night when we sat there and compiled
November 3rd.
the end of the night, and then
To use the
today,
gym at the high school.
right, and today,
Okay.
we were able together to come up with the schedule there. And then Levitt Jen was kind enough to get everybody's notes and input and made it into that, and then everybody was gonna review with the Teachers Association
Okay.
and the administration and the school board, and then everybody is gonna look at it and come back with input, and then
What are those dates?
And then next week,
Earl, give the dates again.
September
please.
8th,
September 8th,
November
September
3rd,
8th.
March 9th. Okay, yeah, so they're already marked on here.
and
Okay.
Mary Ann Doan picked up, she had the Rochester one. And
Thank you.
actually, they have the same days off in several of the other schools where the voting is occurring within that. Because with the new laws regarding people not, certain people not being able to be on school grounds and so forth, the laws, and also everything concerned, as far as keeping things safe, to have folks trotting in to the school while students are there. We know we wouldn't have to worry about the students behaving because we know they behave very well. But that is, so, but we thought it was best. And this parallels what Rochester has and the other schools where the students may go for half a day in snow days and all that kind of thing. So if you have any questions now, please ask.
I see that 2 of those days we're doing teacher workshops, so we're at least not just missing 3, like, we're sort of combining things, right? So that it's not having to miss 3 days and then having to miss more for teachers' workshops and things like that. So only one of the days we weren't able to.
Yeah, in fact, it was, I think Mackenzie or Mary Ann Doan came up with that, right? I think you folks had that idea, which was very
we said
good.
the local elections made the most sense for the teacher workshop days. Leave that national election day open so that everybody could go vote.
There you go.
Take care of that.
Thank you very much.
Good, thanks.
Thank you, that worked out well.
So have we contacted Chris? Who's gonna make the final decision, Chris or us?
You're the important one.
Let me ponder it then.
We lie and you verify it.
This is a five-person team.
I'm fine with it. Do we have to make a motion?
I make a motion.
I'll second it.
Hold it, we got Larry Brown.
Thank you. Larry Brown. The new gymnasium has a long and honorable history of having been, as the chair should well know, of being the town meeting site. And I think part of the discussion that Chris Jacobs had is that seeing the school as the beginning of a continuity into adult life and voting can't hurt.
We're doing this in public,
What
right?
was the motion? I made?
Oh,
To
approve the
have voting at
national
all those days.
elections be held.
At our school, at our gymnasium.
Any one of those days.
Do you want me to put the motion to approve the national elections be held on, and I'll write those days?
Well, it's the national
2
and it's the
local and 1
town
national.
and what's,
Oh, the election.
what is in September?
Primary.
Thank you.
And that's
Another
the
one?
only one that would impact sports, because volleyball season, the others were before season and, between seasons. But we just have to schedule around it, that is.
Okay.
Just have it in the middle.
September would be primary.
Yeah,
Why do I have the-
November's national
right,
and
okay.
March is town.
I thought we already had a primary.
Everybody,
That
you
was
got that?
just us.
Everybody?
Yep.
'Cause I didn't have it.
We make sure this is public so the people don't think we're moving the location so they can't vote.
Oh, okay, okay.
And one of the things that Chris talked about, they were going to talk about at school and we were going to meet, is involving the students. Because there's different time the students have to do for community service that they could use this time. So students would assist with this, and this would allow them to really get involved.
Good idea.
No, now my other question is, we're allowing him to use the gymnasium for those 3 days. Are we approving the rest of this document, or are we putting it on hold?
We're going to,
haven't even
if you want
looked at
to, we'll put it on hold for 2 weeks because we want you to have a chance to review it
Yeah,
and
this whole
the staff and everything.
Just approve the
Because
election days.
we
All right, I thought
we
we
heard
did.
about, he gave you these days last night, we talked about it this afternoon,
We can do the
and
rest
you
later.
guys are getting your first look at this, so.
Okay.
So everybody realizes we're moving the elections to the gymnasium at the high school.
That's the main idea.
All right. Okay, Emily, you said, no,
And I seconded.
Okay, good.
Seconded it.
go ahead.
I.
Aye.
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 So we've done it. Thank you, everybody. Anything else, Earl?
No, if I do, I'm gonna get hit by Paul.
No.
Or me, or Emily, or one of us.
Okay,
Well spoken. Al. Good job.
Thank
moving
you.
on, Earl's done going to financials. I noticed an error
Uh-oh.
Oh,
in the page 25.
okay,
And,
I got a new one.
Nate has the correction.
I actually had, I did the whole.
Oh, you did the whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
And of course, Peg had a
This
chance
is
to
Boyd
look
then?
at it.
What happened is, we had $25,000 that was, oh, we got somebody's calendar.
Oh, it's not mine.
Page, I just pointed out so that people realize this.
Do you want one?
On page 25, under that 361,003,
Yeah.
there was $25,000
Thank
put in there.
Good night.
Which line, Doug? I'm sorry.
Page 25,
Yep.
building improvement, that
Oh, okay.
361,003. We added $25,000 to that.
There was an encumbrance error that wasn't caught until March when these were done. It was caught a few days later.
Okay.
So I had to go back and fix it.
The other thing I want the people to remember about that money there, and then the $60,000 for the transfer to the trust fund, those would be public hearings that we'd hold, and then we'd have to vote to spend money out of those funds. Is that correct? Correct, Nate?
Out of the trust fund, yes.
What about the 361?
No.
No,
It's
we-
not in it doesn't go in a trust fund. We already have permission to spend it.
Mhm.
It's not a special fund.
Well, I want to talk about leaving that money in the operating budget because I think it's misleading. Is there any other place we could put it? I'll talk about it.
We'll talk. I think it's on the agenda later.
Yeah, it is, okay, fine. Anybody, do I have any questions on the, oh, I want people to realize, there is a big difference of the last meeting we had with the financials and this meeting because we did not think we had as much money as we had before. I think I gave you a copy in your packets. That was page. What page was it on? Said we had $925,000. Okay? In the operating budget, and I made that statement at the deliberative session. Does everybody remember that? Well, we did not have $925,000 because we had inadvertently added that 361 in the money that we had left in our operating budget, and that's what I'm concerned about the budget. I didn't think that figure to me didn't belong in there, but we'll discuss it later. It's misleading. Do I have any other questions on the operating budget? Peg?
Who else? I did get the new one because I stopped by earlier. I have one quick question for, actually two. Retirement and FICA all the way through, quote unquote, overspent. But then I look back and there was nothing budgeted. Did that have anything to do with that mask
Yeah.
line?
Yep.
That just so is so.
How do you think I feel?
confusing.
So
Well,
for
you're
example,
smarter than I am.
For example, if you look at
Well, the first one
look
is
at page 2.
Yep, page 2. I've got quite a
you
few.
can look at the first four.
Yeah.
4 FICA lines.
Well, the
Those have
middle
no
and
count
high.
numbers.
Okay, the middle and the high FICA are there. They're fine. But then we've
Right.
got
Because
high
those
para.
have already been budgeted there. But if you look at the high para FICA, we didn't budget any money for that line, but we have someone there.
Okay, but
And for the substitutes used to come out of the teacher's FICA. I didn't think that was very transparent. So I moved it to another, I moved the expense into that line from now on.
So this is a one-time change.
Yeah, next year,
It'll show it.
next year you'll be able to see the budget amount with it.
Okay, so this is
So right
just,
now, if
it's
you
gonna stay as
notice-
a zero.
for the rest of the
budget,
year. Yeah.
okay.
If you notice, for example, elementary teachers FICA on page 1, the second from the bottom, it's $11,000 under budget
Right.
because that's where you get most of that right there. Not
Okay.
most of it, but some
Okay,
of it.
all right.
So they're all absorbed somewhere else. They just got moved.
Okay, all right, because I just kind of looked through and it was woo, woo, woo. Then my other question, I mean, that was kind of a general looking through.
I'm sorry, that's going to be the case for a couple salary lines too. For example, middle school and actually MES secretary got moved into the same line.
Okay, all right, I think I noticed that, but that was okay. My question, and this might help you too, Doug, the high bond principal on page 25 and the interest, should we encumber that amount since we actually do have to pay it?
We've already paid it. We don't need to encumber it because it's been paid.
Paid in August.
We paid it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, already paid, thank you.
I'd already checked out them pay.
Okay. All right, already paid, thank you. All right,
My question on some of these, from now on, anything that we're putting in the trust fund, you're gonna be putting it in the operating budget, is that correct? For next year? Anything that passed that was meant for what do you spend for education? 50,000 that goes into special ed?
Yep.
Is that gonna be stuck in the operating budget as a line?
Yes, because it is expense out of the operating budget.
But it goes into the capital reserve fund?
Yes.
But
But it's still an expense from our side.
Yeah, but then it raises the bottom line of the figure though, doesn't it?
Yes. Because all the warrant articles will.
Yeah, but we have extra money in those funds. If you'd like to look at the figures, you're going to have, what do you got, $96,000 in the special ed? You're gonna put another 50 in there, so that'll give you another 140. So you're gonna encumber that 60 or that 50 that you put in for next year.
Next year we would, yes.
But you haven't spent it, it's still sitting in the capital reserve fund.
The operating budget should show just the transfer of monies. That's all it should show. If we're spending $50,000 out of the general fund to go to supplement special ed, it only shows that transfer of funds.
Because we never did it this way in the past. When did we start doing it?
A couple of years ago.
Because it raises the bottom line of our budget. So when somebody on the budget committee doesn't understand, we are gonna understand what's going on, but somebody on the outside is not.
Well,
They're gonna say we got a whole lot of extra money.
see, I disagree. This budget right here is exactly, if you take out the federal funds, it's exactly what's on the MS-22R.
Is the net amount or the gross amount?
Every single penny except for the federal grants is in this.
But is it the net or the gross?
Because we're taking the federal grants out, it's more of a net than it is the gross. Because we
okay.
trust the federal grants is a difficult thing to explain, but so if you went to the MS-22R right now, and you would see that the amount that's in the expense for the operating budget, approved operating budget, is $10.8 million, and it's exactly what this bottom line is. If you take out the $355,000 for federal grants.
But see, that presents a problem, because if you look at your book for last year, your amount you were given extra for revenue was $339,137, and when that was a default, and if you subtracted it from the default number, your figure should have been $10,082,139.91.
For which numbers?
We got the default budget this year, and we're gonna have the default
Yep.
budget for next year. So that's your default figure right there. That's like,
So if you take the default number, which is the 10.4, and then you
Top.
add Article 4, which is the 5,000 for the library books, Article 8 for the 60,000.
No, that'd be for next year. You're talking about next year. I'm talking about this year now.
Yeah, I am
That
too.
is this
I am
year,
too.
yeah.
And then that brings the total voted budget to 10.4. And then you add the additional adequacy aid for 361,000, which would make it the 10.8. The bottom line is the MS-25 and the DOE 25 has to have all of these expenses in it.
I don't argue that.
They
with you,
don't. The state doesn't care how we present it month to month. So the bottom line is, if you guys don't want those numbers in, I could take them out. I feel they need to be in because it matches the MS-22R. But if you disagree, that's fine. You guys want it out, I'll take it out.
But see, it doesn't give the true picture to the budget committee of the public. Because last year, I made a mistake at the meeting. Because technically, all we had left in our operating budget, I thought was over $200,000. And it wasn't out of our operating budget. It was only $39,000.
Out of the expense report, yeah.
And that's what the people should be seeing, how tight our operating budget is, and we're not showing it. So I think it's hurting us. That's why I think,
But it's encumbered, so the
I was
bottom
gonna
line
say,
would be
yeah,
the same.
yeah.
If you take it out, it's still going to be the same bottom line because you're taking out the encumbrance.
Right.
So it's still the bottom line is still going to be the same number.
but why didn't I get the figure when I went to the deliberative session or the hearing that what I had left in the operating budget was only $39,000. I went by the other figure.
The other figure was how much we had left over, which
From
was
the revenues that came in
with the
from audit
revenues.
report.
Exactly. Yep.
I wish the board would go along with the net budget because I find the other thing is confusing. I'll take my book back. Because I hate to tell you people this, I'm finding a lot of mistakes in these figures. And I'm having to correct them.
I disagree.
Okay, moving on. Larry?
Larry Brown, mild background from the budget committee, and that is that the transfer of line items does not represent a misrepresentation of costs. And that should go out very clearly. Secondly, on something like FICA, it is an automatic calculation on the salary figure. If the salary figure changes because the person changes rate of pay, or if a different person takes over the same line item at a higher or lower salary, that FICA will change, and it is the power of that god-awful computer word, the algorithm, that determines how accurate the FICA is. When you get done to the final FICA calculation on a $10 million budget, the difference in FICA comes close to a rounding error if you were doing calculations by hand. Second point. Last point. Using the $5,000 for books and a $10 million budget. Do the math downhill. $1 million, 10%, $500,000, 5%, $50,000, 0.005, $5,000, 0.0005, for an actual dollar cost on a $10 million budget. And I have seen the budget committee spend an inordinate amount of trivial time on such a small dollar figure and disregard the true cost and value of educating your children. But what do I really think?
Thank you, Larry.
Okay, what I want to do is I'm going to make a motion that we, in our budget reporting from now on, we do the net budget.
Right. Can you define your net budget? What a net budget is to you, please?
I did, I passed you the black book. You looked at it. What you do is you take your revenue out of the budget, and you subtract it, and that's how you find your your net budget is, without the revenues and stuff in it.
Okay, so the only revenue that is in here now then would be the adequacy aid and the 60,000 going into the trust
And the
fund?
361 is also in that budget.
Well, that's what I said, the
I would want
adequacy
that.
aid, 360 and then the 60.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was gonna say there's no other revenue in here,
What,
but,
what your,
all right.
what your default budget, what your actual net budget for this year should be, I told you what it was 10,082,139.91. If you subtract the 339 that was in your book on page 14 of last year's book.
Okay. All right, I just wanted, for me, to make sure that I totally understood, so. All right.
Do I have a second?
Oh, I'll second that if that's what you want, yeah.
Do we have any discussion?
Can you tell me what your motion said again?
So
We use the net budget and not the gross budget.
does this eliminate some of the transparency that we've been pushing for the last 3 years on the board?
Yes, I think it will.
It eliminates it.
We won't have that problem anymore.
No, but
You're
Paul's
making it
saying
less transparent.
No more transparent, because you'll know what you have really in your budget.
But if we explain it the correct way, we will know.
Well, we're not having it, we're having trouble getting it out there right now. And if you look at it, you have it with your net budget, you're gonna know exactly what you have left every month. Because
But
we
if
had a
we-
mistake 4 weeks ago, because we had the 361 in there, and it shouldn't have been into that 925 thing.
So if we explained it the correct way, then we wouldn't have had the problem.
But see, the trouble with that is the budget committee even gets it wrong sometimes. Because they thought we had a surplus of $500,000 at one point, and that became a big problem.
900. I did explain.
We don't, no.
I did explain to the budget committee that the 361,000 and the 60,000 were in there, but not encumbered yet because Nate had not encumbered them. They seemed to understand. Larry, you were there. Do you think it was understood? Okay, no comment from Larry.
That's not, never true.
I
Give him a
know.
second.
Come on, Larry, you have a comment over there. And I think whoever the school board rep
Nat?
is on the budget committee, if they understand it and can explain it, then I don't know. I guess my question now would be, where is that 361,000 going to show up? Because it won't be going on here, so
You won't see it.
I've been
trust.
I've been told by Karen Brown that we should call the Secretary of State. She gave me the name of 2 individuals that we should talk to in charitable funds that we should, and I gave the names, but it should come out, should go into a fund and,
okay, so even though these are trust funds and they
that one isn't.
keep going,
That one isn't.
okay, so it's a totally,
$60,000 is.
right, and that'll be added to this.
It has already been added.
Do we end up with, I mean, can we make another kind of report like this, Nate? That shows he's got,
Nate?
The DRA, the auditors, and the DOE all agreed it should be in the expense report. They said it doesn't have to be. There's no law that says it has to be, but they agree it should be.
Well, what I did in my process, I asked for communities in the town, or in the surrounding area, different towns, how they do it, and it's probably some do and some don't.
Yep.
Okay.
Can I ask a clarifying question? The 361, is that federal grants or is that money?
Adequacy
the
aid.
Special,
Adequacy.
adequacy aid.
that
For
additional.
the air
adequacy
handle
aid.
and the fire alarm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that wouldn't be in the purple or any of the books, right? Because it was unanticipated? That's why it seemed like it was.
No, it's in the operating budget. That is not in
Yeah,
the,
but not in the
it's not in the
books.
black book.
Right,
It wouldn't be in those books because
yeah,
those
it
are
would be, because it was
different year.
unanticipated, right?
It's a different year.
Right,
Different.
well, it wouldn't have been last year, wouldn't be in any of the books, because it was unanticipated.
Well, it was anticipated.
It was anticipated, yeah.
But
Tell me,
John
don't
is
even
go
saying,
confused.
John is saying, will that be embedded in next year's? Is that what you? that's
It
what
does
you're-
get carried over to next year.
So will the 172 also?
Yes.
See, that's gonna be more, you're gonna have the 361, if we haven't spent the money, on top of that, you're gonna have the 172 in that operating budget.
Yes.
And we just have to explain the reason why
Yeah.
it's there.
To be frank, I don't understand enough really to about what you're saying to decide for myself. But I would err on the side of caution, and then on the side of the financial manager and business administrator and DOE and all of these other and lawyers that are saying to keep it there. So to me, you keep it there, and but it's awareness is good, and we just keep saying we explain it. That's just
Okay. Paul,
What's that?
yes or no?
No.
Yes.
no.
I'm gonna say no too. Sorry.
Okay, moving on. Revenue report?
So it's either 100% transparency or net budgeting. So, I mean, we picked our poison once already about transparency and the lack thereof, and now we're being more transparent and going with what other people want, and now we want to switch it back again. So, I'm telling you why I said no. So we got to pick the poison that we're going to stick with and not keep flip-flopping around.
Okay. Travis?
I mean, I know you already made your motion and voted on it, but for those of you who watch Facebook, the big complaint was people didn't understand how the budget was being reported.
So
Whether do a better job at explaining how those extra funds are in there and where they come from, or put it on a different sheet altogether.
I agree with that 100%. We should be able to explain the reason why it's there legally and openly and why we have to put what we have to put or we should advise to put. We should be able to explain that in layman's terms where people understand it.
I agree. I do think that each financial meeting I should go over the changes that are made, explain them more instead of just answering the questions she had. I need to go in more depth of what's going on.
In this
I have a question.
meeting.
In the financial meeting, yeah.
Okay, because I know that,
Yeah, he knows.
I mean, I don't know if you watched the budget committee meeting, Travis, the last one, when I did explain why there was a difference between,
Were we talking about the $7,000 budget committee one, or the other one?
well, the 7,000 that I did not know about yet. And it wasn't 7,000, it was $7, by the way. But it was explaining about the 361 and the 60.
Right, and I understand it, but a lot of people out in the town don't, and actually a lot of people are making the assumption you guys are hiding money. Because you don't have money, and all of a sudden at the end of the year, you have all this unanticipated revenue that you want to purchase stuff with. Where is it coming from? Are you overtaxing us, or is it coming from somewhere? So I think if you could do a better job explaining that the 361,000 came from the state, it was anticipated, we did in a way pay taxes on it, but not to the town, it came from the state. A lot of people don't understand that, and
But we did.
And we
I'm
had that
sorry,
big
we
meeting and
did.
everything, I know, but
No,
people
no,
don't even
I
go.
think what he's trying to say is that if you're comparing another school, I won't even say the name, to our school, and their figure doesn't have that, and you look at our spending, it makes it the appearance that you have 500 kids, and this is what your budget is. Why are their budget $500,000 less than ours? So with the schools doing it differently, you're not comparing oranges to oranges, and people don't understand that. And I think that's what, we're trying to say here, is that we're looking for an answer when actually it's a no-win, because wherever the money is, the people are coming out here, and a few people come out and people try to understand it. It's not an easy thing to understand, really.
No, it's not.
right? I mean, you're new here. What's your take on this?
So, trying to understand, that's why I'm here.
Right.
Okay, I commented and I bought in. But listening to you, between this committee and the budget committee, there seems to be some kind of miscommunication also as to the money that's there and how it's being spent. So with that being said, if the two committees don't know what they're doing or what's actually there, the confusion's starting here. As into, I don't know, it's just the two committees. Tell me if I'm wrong, I mean, I'll understand,
But if you look at this form, you walk up to it and you've never seen it before, you're gonna say what's budgeted for the because that's what it says, monthly expense report. And it says we have 10,491,661.91 for our operating budget, which is not true. Because our operating budget for that year right here, which is in the black book, is only 10,082,139.91.
So why is that?
Everybody in town's gonna say, oh my God, look at all the money there. I thought I gave you a default budget. And it's not gonna show. You're right, there is miscommunications between the two boards, you're right. But if people saw the net budget, I think it would end the confusion. Okay, moving on after you.
So the 10,082,000 you're talking about, that's what was voted on by the town.
Not for the operating budget.
Okay, but that was what was voted last March. That's not, we do the default budget we ended up with.
Right.
The reason it's 10,400 now is because the town voted again to accept that money.
But it's not for the operating budget.
But I'm not sure if there's a difference.
There is.
There isn't, or there?
So it needs to
But
be
it's
stated.
still being spent by the town. We still have to,
Right.
the town accepted that money, and basically the town increased our operating budget.
Right.
Correct.
And it was to earmark it for that.
They
So
didn't,
that
they didn't
10,400
increase
is
the
enough.
operating. The operating budget has not been increased.
But
But
they
it was
did by
increased when we
default.
accepted free money for it.
Because they raised and appropriated that money.
You
By
raised and
voting.
appropriated for the air handler and the fire alarms.
Right, so that's how we're spending it.
Well, we haven't spent any of it yet.
You're
True, but
missing the
that's
point,
what
Doug.
we had to raise and appropriate.
Missing, okay. Okay. Moving on to the revenue report, the 10/4/2020.
Actually, I'm going to have a question, and I'm not sure if you will be able to answer this. I know there was some confusion about Medicaid reimbursements.
We just got to check.
Okay, so we,
So there was a bunch of confusion about what was going on. So
Right.
they held off on doing
okay.
the reimbursements
Okay,
for a good 4 or 5 months, but they started again. We got it was around $12,000 the other day. So they should be back on track now.
okay, all right, good, thank you, because I knew that there was some,
Yep.
So we all
Out
done
there.
with the revenue report?
Yep.
The monthly grant report, page 43.
that looks good.
Food operating report, January 20, page 48. Any questions? How are we doing with, how much we spent in debt? What's our debt?
Right now, it's currently about 13,659.
So it's the third column over on the bottom.
Yep.
All right.
And to give perspective, we were in debt 25,099 last year at this time.
All right, we'll start with that one. Page 50. Now, this is where your $60,000 is in this report here. Everybody okay with that report? This is our agreement for the cafe services. So what are they asking? Another person?
Yeah, we discussed the floors, having someone clean the floors. So we asked that they put another employee in to cover those floors.
How does that change this contract for next year?
It raises it 14,803. Specifically, they couldn't just hire someone just for floors. so they needed to give them a little extra hours instead of just 4 hours a day.
Okay, so, we had a default budget this year,
Yep.
and how much money extra, what was the contract and how much more money?
Yep. So the default budget was going into next year is going to be $284,549, and they're coming in at $276,924, which is a difference of a savings of $7,600.
And that's with the $14,000 increase?
Yes. Yep. And also they're I'm sorry, that's it. That's it.
Are they suggesting that we increase the prices again?
Yes. No, they're not, somebody else I think is.
I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, their numbers that they ran had increase of 15 cent for lunch, 10 cents for breakfast, and then 15 cents for adults lunch and 25 cents for adult breakfasts.
No.
And that's where their sales come in. That's what that's based on.
Okay, I want to go back to my other question though. This year's food contract was $289,548, 83 cents.
This year's no. This year's was.
What's on page 25 on your report?
Yeah.
You got a figure of $289,548.
Yeah, but remember this is a default budget.
So it's $284,548. So we had to come up with $5,000 in our budget somewhere in order to make up for that.
No, remember we ended up cutting out that position, and they came back and gave us a lower number.
Right.
It was around 200. I want to say like 250,000.
So for this year.
Yeah.
So why hasn't the figure changed in the operating budget?
Because it's a default budget.
But wait, isn't the contract less?
Yes. If you go to page 26, the last page, the food service contract budget 284, and then year to date's 150,000. Commerce is 100, so we're gonna have a savings of $33,000. 33,210 and 83 cents for this year.
Give me the figure again for this coming year.
For this coming year,
The new one. This contract.
276 something, right?
924.
276,
924.
correct?
Was there any sense?
No, they round.
And that's what's on this contract?
Yes.
Which is a $7,600 saving.
924, okay, all right. All right. Larry, sorry.
Yeah, I think I remember that in the previous contract, we, the school district, had to hire an additional part-time custodian because the contract hardball was being played by the food service provider, and we were doing the floors. The increase of 14,000 in their contract to pay for the cost of the floor cleaning and associated costs represents a savings to the district because it did not include anything for the district paying FICA and workers' comp. Those are contracted out. Lastly, if I heard correctly, and the final cost goes down by $7,000, I would like to remind the board that 4 years ago, I was against the rise in the breakfast cost because, in my opinion, that represents a more vulnerable population than children who take lunch. And a board member no longer with us voted to raise that at that time. So if you can, of your own authority, adjust your costs, take advantage of the $7,000 that you are down, and protect people who need breakfast as perhaps one of the better meals they're getting. Good. If you want studies from Maine that show productive children eat children who eat are more productive. Those studies are.
So you're gonna need a motion for the 276,924. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
Do you put those out to bid, just a question, do you put those out to bid?
We have the option to put them out to bid every year. Every 5th year, we're required to by the state,
Okay.
which we did the prior year.
Okay,
They were the only ones that did.
okay. Thank-
But didn't you say, Nate, though at one point that there might be one other food service company in New Hampshire?
I reached out to that said food service company while we were bidding, and I never got a response, and they never showed.
Yeah. Yeah, there were not that many in the
No.
state. They're basically
They're the
two.
only other ones I know of.
Yeah, I've never heard of any others either, so.
And how is that with other school districts around the area? I mean, is it within
Basically,
reason?
as far as contracting,
Yeah, I mean, as you know,
it's pretty much that specific company, or they do it themselves.
okay.
Last time we were doing it ourselves, maybe 6 years ago,
For $89,000.
and we were 89,000 in debt when we were doing it in house.
Well, I understand going outside.
Yeah.
I do, you know.
So I mean, we do try to sharpen our pencil and see what's out there from time to time. But that being said, we're still required I believe it's every 5th year, and again that was last year that happened.
Al?
Is this a part-time person that's shared between each cafeteria, or is this gonna be, like, is that amount one staff person that's going to be shared between
Yes.
the two?
Yes.
So it's $14,000 to mop, wipe down
No.
tables and clean a microwave?
No, because
No, okay.
the issue that they had,
I'm in.
the issue they had was they weren't going to attract anybody for just a couple hours a day. So
Okay.
they're going to do the floors, but they're going to have other things to do too.
I just wanted to clarify.
It's more than just
the
a few
beginning of
hours.
it was the bringing on an extra staff for
Yeah.
floors and tables, and if it's $14,000 to wash floors and tables,
I would have thought of you, but
and there's a microwave to wipe out. My bad.
I think when you were there, we had 3 people in the kitchen.
Yes.
We were now down to 2.
Yes.
So we found that wasn't as productive and so forth. So we're just going back to what we had. We're not adding. We're
exactly.
Going
Yeah.
back to what we had.
I totally understand.
Yeah.
The beginning of the conversation only mentioned that part, so I just wanted to clarify.
So
Okay.
motion to approve the 276,924 for the
Paul
food
and
service
Peg.
operating budget, is that what it is?
Paul?
Aye.
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 Passes. Now we want to discuss raising the rates.
Who seconded it?
Paul
did.
and Peg.
I don't want to. Well, get some input maybe.
I do. So every year I have to fill out what's called a PLE. It's a paid lunch equity. It's required by the state. So basically, I had to write this down because it gets confusing. But basically, the paid lunch equity tool, which is required by the state, calculates the price increase requirements from non-federal sources. It takes the average daily lunch price, and it should equal the free reimbursement rate minus the paid reimbursement rate. If it's not, it's on us to do one of two things: take it out of pocket, which is the transfer of funds, or raise the prices of the lunch. Now that PLE not required, but suggested that we should be about 32 cents higher per lunch, but they only require a cap at 10 cents.
I remember you saying that
Yeah.
last year that we were below.
So in order to be equal, we would have to raise it 32 cents. Obviously, we're not going to do that.
Now, you're just talking about the lunch or the breakfast? Right now?
For the paid equity, it's all about the lunch.
Lunch. Well, not, okay, all right. But I ask this question each year. By raising the rates, are we pushing more people down into,
I actually looked into that currently. It does look like for MES, the lunch is up, and at Newt, it's down just a little bit.
but I mean, are we, by raising our rates, are we pushing more people where they don't have the money to pay for the lunch? Are we?
That's about the same.
Saying
as
that
it was
has not
last year.
changed.
No, last I
That's
checked
my
it was
main
almost
concern.
exact.
That's my main concern. Oh,
So, like Larry said, if we're 7,600 under budget, do we have to raise it? I mean, that's basic math.
According to the state, you have to raise it 10 cents.
Why do we have to?
Because if you don't, it's just that much more coming out of our pocket. As in the transfer of funds.
Oh, to cover it from the school department?
Yes. From the general fund.
we take it out at the end of the year.
Yeah.
That's what that $40,000 in there, it's on one of your spots.
Yep.
Toward the end of the book, the
Yep.
pamphlet.
Yep.
So that's pretty good, $40,000. Compared to some towns.
So I think it was almost 90 last, 6 years ago, yes.
So do I have a motion to read it?
Peg has a question.
I have a question. I think I have to agree with Larry about breakfast, because a lot of districts actually are providing free breakfast for a lot of these kids, so.
We provide
For the free and reduced.
free and reduced. Actually, the state has a thing where it's, if you're reduced for breakfast, it's still free. We
Okay,
get compensated for that.
okay.
So for free and reduced breakfast, it's not really reduced. It's just free.
Okay, good to know.
Not for the paid.
Right,
For the free and reduced.
okay, good. I did not know that one. That's good.
That's actually happening this year too. It's already starting. It's been happening all year long.
Good.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion to raise the lunch 10 cents. Do we have it?
I'll make a motion to raise lunch 10 cents.
Do we have a second?
I'll second, as long as we don't touch breakfast.
We don't have to, I'm just asking. No, we're not, when we say that, we're raising both the children and the adults?
Yes.
We didn't make that clear though.
Oh, it says on here 15 for adult. Do we want to do that or just 10 for both?
That's what they based it on. You don't have to go by that.
Okay,
So it's gonna be 10 for both.
okay.
When, Paul?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
So we're not touching the breakfast.
Okay.
okay.
10 cents for
Everybody?
Everybody.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, for lunch.
All right. Thank you.
Principals report?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mackenzie Anderson. So I had a proposal for a international trip for next school year that I was going to bring to you this evening in light of current situations and my desire to not be dealing with more than one massive international disaster at a time. I'd like to actually remove that from your plates because there's a very real possibility that I'll be in Portugal and Spain next year when this trip gets pushed that far out. So, you don't mind, I apologize. Just take it off your plates for everyone.
All right.
Totally
Not
understandable.
Belize right now. Wait.
So you're not going to Belize then? Now, do they have any cases down there? I haven't seen anything on South
no.
America.
That I'm not sure of.
South America, yes. but-
There are cases pretty much everywhere, and there are new cases popping up every day. I
Okay.
don't know if there's anything in Belize right now.
Okay. Just checking. Right.
Moving on.
And moving on, state test and prom request?
Oh, we still have more stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What?
Okay, I have a short.
Come on.
So,
Good night, Mackenzie.
it is I Love to Read Month, and I have an invitation in here. We would love for you to come and read to the students. And if you just call and let Andrew or Kathy know when you want to come in, if you have a grade preference, we could schedule a time, when the students would be available to do reading. We'd love to have you come in and participate in any of the other events that are happening. And today was Superhero Day, and you guys are our superheroes. So, you got to get another picture this year. So you guys can get to pick what you want to wear while I get your picture.
Jesus.
See what you look like this year, Paul. And I got to give you your stickers for being our superhero.
This is gonna be That's his. No, you're Batman.
Wonder Woman.
Thank you.
Supergirl.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh, okay.
And you got your.
Oh, we got stickers too?
Yeah.
Boom.
Thanks.
Boom.
Nice try.
Awesome.
Do I what?
Are there any other masks over there?
Well, heck yeah. Girl ones? No, look what you want to be Catwoman?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's Black Panther, actually.
Oh,
It's Catwoman now.
it's Catwoman now.
Here you go, Earl.
What do you want to be?
I don't know what it
Should
is,
be
but
that
you're wearing
instead
that
of
one.
Mike said.
Marvel.
Supergirl.
Supergirl.
Earl.
Juggins.
It's Super
Super Earl. Should say Super Earl.
That was for you. That was for your great
Yeah.
Ooh, God.
All right. So let me
God,
get.
you kill us every year.
All right. Let me
Ouch.
get your picture.
This is you next year, dude.
Yeah.
Come on in there.
You got to pose, too.
Ah. Oh, what am I again?
You just go like this.
Stop looking at the
Well, I
papers,
can't
Doug.
see.
Earl, the nose cutout goes on the nose.
Oh,
Flip it around, Doug.
I mean, you looked out.
oh, thanks, Al.
All right. I've got to do two. I'm going to do one from here. Get all of you, and then I'm going to do a panorama.
Is everybody okay?
You're good now.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Say superhero.
Superhero.
All right. Let's just get a panorama. So.
Put it on right.
All right. Ready? Here we go. Here's. Stay still for a
Thoroughly
second.
psyched.
Doug
You
looks
gotta have
awesome.
some fun, right?
All right. Great.
I'm going to give this.
I'm gonna wear this the rest of the night.
Okay.
Yeah, leave it.
I just had a question for you, John.
Yes.
Why are we showing a,
That's my next point on that. The next one, I just wanted to bring to your attention, we have, as you know, we're on a default budget this year. We had, this year, well, I can't remember what we did for this year's budget, but the actual last year's budget had artists in residence in it. We had artists in residence money. We're not able to get an artist in residence this year. So what we'd like to do is to work with the PTA to bring in one of these water coolers that they have up. You have one, right, Jan? Two. So we'd like to get one down at the elementary school, which is a filter system. The PTA is going to pay for half of it, and the other half is about $1,000. We have $1,800 put aside for artists in residence. So I just want to let you know about that. It's not something you have to vote on, but I just want your feedback on it and let you know about it. So, if there are any questions on that?
I think it's a great idea.
Those are cool.
Yeah,
Those are
and they're
really,
because the kids bring in water bottles, they can bring the bottle, they
Yep.
get them filled and all that.
they have them at work.
Yeah.
They're going to be a huge time saver on
Oh,
holiday
yeah.
breaks and everything, especially in the summer. And you're going to cut back on the waste of plastic bottles and your recycling as well.
Mm.
So the PTA has committed the money. We just, it was more than they can budget. So they said if we come up with the other half, like I said, we haven't used the artist in residence money. It's there. I've met with Nate about it. We have enough of a cushion in the MES budget. It's not going to be a problem to spend that money. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention. Any questions about it? Or
So is it $1,000?
it's about $1,000 our part.
From
So
us.
about
Our part,
2,000, 2,000, 2,200 around there. They'll pay half. We'll pay the other half.
Okay.
So any questions on this part of the report? No. I know you have it a little later on, but while I have the floor, if you have any questions, can we do it now about the
Yeah, come
air
on.
quality? Since
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
that's a little bit farther on the
what page
report.
is that?
That is page 73. So we had a couple
I
of
remember
students
this.
that got sick in a particular class, most like headaches and so forth. But I will say our attendance has been very good. We had like 8 students out today or yesterday. We were looking at it, really low numbers. So it wasn't like there were a lot of kids sick. There was just a couple of kids right around the same time got sick. Parents were talking because they were friends or something, and concerned parent just thought maybe there's some CO2 or CO, I'm not sure which one it was, in the classroom. So they contacted the fire department, and they came out and did the testing, and the air levels were fine, CO, CO2, everything was good. So then we asked them, they just came in and did, it was very informal, what they did. So we said, well, since you've done that, can you give us a full report? So we got a full report for our record on this.
Okay,
Good.
good to know.
I'll throw was that air quality report from the fire department. They do particles per million as into spores, change of season, pollen.
This was,
Or
this
is
is really just to
gases?
check out, they redo different air qualities. This was kind of a random, somebody was concerned about the CO.
CO
Sure,
levels.
yep.
So they just came and did a CO test and they did some other
Are there
things in
CO
there.
detectors in the school at present? or
No, I'm not sure, I
Just a
can't-
question, is, you know.
Yeah, I can find out, I'm not sure.
Bob would know.
There is for carbon dioxide, not
Yeah.
carbon monoxide, because when we have too many people, like when we get more people in the cafeteria, the air handler goes more, at least it did, I was bad at MES.
Oh, up there in the filter.
She was science, I was language arts, she'll get it.
Have
She'll
that,
get it.
so it's not-
All right, just,
Yeah. So, any questions on that?
No, good report.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
What about the prom request, is that?
That should be the high school, I hope.
So I-
Kindergarten prom.
Kindergarten prom. So it's becoming testing season again. So the first thing, we have the SAT for our juniors on April 14th. Last year, what we did is we fed them breakfast, they took the test, which took about 3.5 to 4 hours, we fed them some lunch, and then you guys allowed them to go home. So I'm requesting on April 14th, is that okay if we test our juniors, feed them lunch, and then dismiss them?
You need a motion?
I need a
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Oh.
Oh, what?
Who is it?
It's definitely me.
Okay, she can have it.
It's like one thing I understand. Got this one.
Paul?
All right.
Aye.
Thank you. So then the other thing that they have to take is they have to take the science test. So again, it's a statewide assessment in science. And 8th grade, well, 5th, 8th, and 11th have to take it. So we were thinking May 8th would be the perfect date to do it because the 7th grade was going to be going to Boston, which we're not sure about. But having them out of the building, having a quiet half of the building, we thought we would have 8th and 11th take their science test on May 8th. May 8th also happens to be the date of junior prom. So the juniors were going to come anyway and ask, I don't know, again, if you remember when we had it on a Friday, you guys dismissed them early so they could get hair, nails, dress done, get pictures, and then be back in time for about 4:30 for the Grand March. So if we do it on the 8th, I've already talked to the juniors about them giving their best effort. Could they come in, they would do some of first period, because we wouldn't start the test right away. Again, then they would take 3 to 3.5 hours on the science test. And then could we dismiss them to get ready for prom? We already told them they have to be there, they have to test in order to go to prom.
So what do you want from us?
Another.
Permission to dismiss the juniors at the end of their science test on May 8th.
Do I have a
Make a
motion?
motion to approve that.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? Ed?
Aye.
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 Well, you guys didn't do that above either.
Did what about?
No, for you, all of you.
Yeah, we did.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I got 40.
Just a reminder, our academic awards.
I must be.
Is tomorrow. Middle school
I
is
must be.
8:44 to 9:28, and high school is 9:31 to 10:15.
Say that again, we were distracted.
Our academic awards, second quarter awards are tomorrow. The middle school assembly is 8:44 to 9:28, another 10 of your times. And the high school is 9:31 to 10:15.
Thank you.
Michael?
Yes, I did. Yes, he does not know.
You all set, Jan? All right, let's see what I got. Want you to,
All right, Al just reminded me that I didn't talk about the awesome sports banquet. We had a full cafeteria again, recognized our athletes from middle school and high school boys basketball, middle school girls basketball, and of course our awesome New Spirit team. The Moose Lodge also came and awarded leadership, scholarship, and fellowship awards. And the Tenerife Sports also awarded citizenship awards. So we really appreciate the support they continue to give us.
And the baseball I just have to say this because I talked to Mr. Pennell. They have about 23 kids signed up, just so you know.
Middle school
Boys, middle
Just middle
school
school?
boys.
Yeah.
Just so you know, approximately.
It's a big team.
Yes, just so you know.
Wow.
I'm very excited.
So let's hope the girls get a high school team this year.
There is, Mr. Dewey is having an interest meeting tomorrow. There's been a sign-up sheet in the hallway. I know there's been ramblings of girls wanting to do it. I did say that if they had a team and they didn't have a coach, I would step up and do my best to provide that program for them. But the athletic director, Mr. Dewey, had a coaches meeting today and kind of discussed the possibilities, the outcomes, worked on the scheduling. And so the interest meeting tomorrow is for the high schoolers during advisory.
Good.
I'm gonna post that on the new athletics page tonight as well to hopefully get the parents to know as well.
Good.
Let's see if we can get that going.
We all set, moving
Then
on?
we need the scoreboard.
Working on it.
We're working on that, yeah.
We all set, school board committee positions. You got a sheet, you think about what job you want?
I know I bring this up every year. Well, obviously, we can do what we want, change it around or whatever we want to do. But I think everybody's well-versed and well-trained in the things that they do. If people don't want to do that job anymore, then obviously they don't have to do that job anymore. But I'm just saying that we could approve based on what's here, or we can go line by line. But I know, there's no way I could do negotiations. You guys got this down. I don't even want to delve into that. But I'm good at facilities, you know what I mean? So
Well,
everybody's good at their jobs.
The only problem we have, we got a recount, okay?
So
I
these
put
aren't
the-
set in stone.
And so we don't know what the outcome of the recount's gonna be. So if we do it now, we may be doing it prematurely.
Just wait.
I just want you to
Okay.
think about it.
First table until
That's all it's in there for.
He was just letting you
I
know
want
what he wanted.
facilities.
Yeah.
Want facilities.
Always wants that.
He's good at
I do like it.
facilities, yeah.
Okay, B is gone, C is gone.
Yep.
We're on 7, feasibility study committee. That passed,
Yes.
okay, overwhelmingly.
Yes.
497 to 251. Earl, do you want to comment on
We'll
that,
be
please?
working on that. We have the committee, and we'll be ready when we do the rest of the committees to appoint that committee next time.
I think what's going to happen, Earl and I talked on it with the rest of your board, I think we only need 1 board member on there. We don't need 2, really. So I don't know what the rest of, originally we voted on 2, the board would like to, I'd make a motion that we only put 1 board member on that committee.
That's fine.
And the only other thing is as they said in the deliberative, and as we spoke to the attorney afterwards, the board was there. I think Travis was in there now. Gordon Graham said that one of the things that the board would have to look at is, did they want to have somebody from MRI or NASDAQ or something like that be a part of this, but there's a cost involved, right? You might want
Yeah,
to
he said
speak.
that, yeah.
You might want to speak to that a little bit.
Well, money, we got a default budget, so it's money we're not going to have. That's why we need to watch that budget. We don't have as much as
So
we.
I don't remember. What did he say the reason for doing that and what value would be added?
Because people will say, some of the people are, I know Travis is on the committee, and Emily's on there from the board, and several of the community people and so forth, that in terms of it being, having people that are
Biased,
not part
okay,
of
yeah.
the school, because, in terms of public perception, whatever the committee does, is it because there's no
Ulterior motives.
Yep, yep.
no outside type of thing. So going in, it just like we're doing with, the the trips and the virus, to be fully aware and transparent with everything right from the beginning. So the board is aware of making a decision, because of what direction to go with it, you know, so. But that's something we can look at next time when the committees, but this is just an awareness.
So I have a motion and a second for only allowing one board member on the board. You seconded that, Paul?
I did.
Okay,
On
Paul?
the committee.
Aye.
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 So, just that, you're appointed?
When we last talked about it, I said I would do it. Yeah.
Okay, all right, so you were, I guess you were, I have no problem with that. Okay, moving on, takes care of that. Committee and board member reports?
Facilities met tonight. We talked about the air handler update. That looks like it's gonna be, they're gonna have most of that done for the, depending on, oh my God. That's gonna be a summer job, right? That's the summer
In
one,
April.
right? Yeah. Oh, that's the April one, right? That's when I get confused.
Which one?
The air handler.
Air handler summer.
That's a summer job. Okay.
The office.
That's right.
The office.
The office
Right.
is in April, that's right.
April
So, yeah,
vacation.
the office of the elementary school is in April vacation. The air handler is gonna be the summer job. And then, the fire alarm system, most of the documents are gonna be in. Mechanical documents, electrical documents will be ready by March 23rd. Architectural drawings are 50% completed. Those should be ready by March 23rd. They're just waiting on some structural stuff. So by next meeting, we should have a really good idea of how the sprinkler system, the fire alarm system is going to be working. It's also going to be tied into the air handler system. So if something were to go wrong with the air handler, the fire alarm system will let us know that.
Good.
The office, like I said, the elementary school, that's going to be done in April. And if anybody's got any Bondo, we're stuck with the same plow truck we had last year. So.
What?
That's it?
It is what it is.
Okay, let's, I think at the elections, I think that the school did pretty good. We didn't get everything we wanted. And to me, the voters have spoken. And we have a default budget again. So what's gonna have to be done with that default budget, we're, I don't know if the board, there's a difference of $23,000 between what we asked for and the default budget. I don't know if the board wants to cut anything to come more in line with the default. 'Cause I don't know what the board wants to do, but that's the picture. And,
Rose goes.
go ahead, Earl.
I think Larry Brown said this a while back, that what you're looking at March 1st, you might not be looking at the end of the year. A lot of changes occur, but, you know, regretfully as far as staffing and things like that. So we'll have more of a picture on what next year is going to be 4 months from now than we have now. So, you know, usually as we've done strategically, we've been able to fill positions with people that are not paid as much. And 1 year we came up with excessing and breakage and so forth, about $300,000. That was about 2 or 3 years ago, and with that we were able to add some other staff, and we were able to allow raises for the lowest paid people in the district, the bus drivers and the secretaries and all of those folks. And I know the custodians, they said that was the first raise that they had, and it helped the people in the school that got paid the least. So with that being said, over the course of the next 4 months, we're going to look at where we are, and then as we come into June, I can give you, Doug, we could work and we can see where we are in terms of what we project, because we'll know more, and in July and August we'll know more too of where positions are, where they'll be filled, where we can combine and that type thing. Also, I am still in touch with other school districts. The Farmington school superintendent and I spoke, and we have a list of some things, and you know, we're always open to whatever combinations we can come up with in terms of how we can combine, whether it be staffing or sports or whatever the case is. But that is to ensure that the education is there for the kids, but that's how you can save too. So I'm cautiously optimistic that through the types of what we've done in the past, we can do that again, barring unforeseen events. If everything remains the same as it's been the last 3 or 4 years, I think we're going to be okay.
Okay, now, I want to just touch back on something else that I know I ask Nate this question every time. Is everything encumbered?
No.
Okay.
We're getting close though.
Okay, the only thing I want to caution the board is you have $491,000 left as of tonight. Okay, when you do your next report. That's going to give you at least $125,000 for the months of March, April, May, and June that you're going to be able to play with. So we're going to have to be cautious what we spend. And there is I don't know if it's a policy, but Nate did bring up this. They say around April 15th, not a notice, but the word goes out that curb your spending. Is that right?
Yeah, we have a procedure where all spending, other than non-essential stuff, is done by April vacation, so we can close the books. Mainly, that's the main reason. Close the books and get it done.
So each month you only got about $125,000 to play with. Go ahead.
I did a preliminary estimate on what our fund balance will be for the rest of the year, and it will not cover that $125,000 we have for surplus. That's how close we are.
Explain that again, please. Explain it again.
So it was approved?
Yeah. So all the surplus monies was approved up to 125. It's up to 125,000 for all the warrant articles, based on surplus, and we're looking at roughly, again, it's a complete estimate. We don't know what's going to happen in the next few months, but we're looking at we're sitting at about 110,000.
So we're not going to be able to
cover all of them.
The ones that the people voted on.
Correct.
This year.
Yep. I can't stress enough. It's an estimate because
So
it could go either way.
So you're going to go by the priority that you had them on the warrant.
Yep.
And that's how they're going to go. So
Yep.
some of these are not going to make it, possibly. Okay. Just be aware of that. You only had 39,000 left last year. Okay. And that is a tight budget.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Do we want to? We talked to the attorney. We can pass this information out publicly, but we could talk about our issues privately and not.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's a very good idea, because I think it's important, again, you know, that
Okay,
everybody
the
knows.
CBA did not pass. So Earl and I, we were talking about other things with Gordon, but this came up. Is that if we go back into, we're going to have to go back into negotiations, and it takes about 75 days to do your negotiations, come to an agreement, do your meeting, then your deliberative session, and then your vote. And Gordon feels we probably will not have this special meeting on the new CBA until September of this coming year, September, because you're going to need at least 75 days. Go ahead.
75 days from.
The very.
So we meet with the teachers tomorrow, and then.
Can't meet with them tomorrow.
No. I don't understand the full 75 days. Is that from the time that we first meet with the teachers, and then we have the meeting?
No,
or
it's
do
the
we have to
time
meet with
from
the
which
teachers?
you
For
have a
75
contract.
days.
You have a contract that the board approves, that the Teachers Association approves, from the time of the having a new contract. It will take 75 days.
Minimum.
To get it through the
At the
town.
very least.
And you
So
don't-
once everybody agrees, it's gonna take 75 days
Why
to go
that
through.
long? I mean, it
There's
didn't take-
23 days of posting, one posting, there's 28 days of another posting. You have a hearing, you have a deliberative.
From the
and so
deliberative
forth.
to the vote, you have to have 25 days. It's just like the same rules we did for the anticipated money we got for the 361. That's how it has to run. Has to be put in the paper, and you have to put the notice in the paper 7 days before the day you vote. You got 28 days. It's gonna take you a while. So, once we go into negotiation, we gotta get in there, get it done. And the other thing you don't wanna do, okay, you don't wanna meet during vacation to vote on this CBA. You wanna do it during school. And I think I don't have to tell you why you wanna do it that way.
People are on vacation.
See, okay, I thought you all could figure
You're
that
kidding.
out
People
without
go on
me telling you.
vacation.
So, a minimum of at least 75 days. So we can't do anything until we get the recount done. So we could meet, we could schedule a date, but you don't know who's gonna be on the negotiating team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anything else, sir?
Love takes time.
Love takes time?
Have you heard the song? No, you
No,
didn't.
never. 50s and 60s.
Oh, my.
Any public comments? Larry?
Yeah, there are a couple. One, I will be going back onto the budget committee.
Congratulations.
Yeah, right. And if you know that joke, second prize is 2 weeks in Cleveland.
Now, which one did you get? Because
First prize is 1 week in Cleveland, second prize is 2 weeks.
you got votes for the 1 year and the 3 year.
I'm taking the 3-year
Okay, all right.
position because with the turnovers on the budget committee, I am vain enough to think there should be somebody there who understands some of the processes that the budget committee goes through.
So you'll explain to them everything in November 15th is not incumbent.
Well, no, not exactly.
Again.
Because the point that I want to make I'll make it for both the town and the school, is that neither the town nor the school have a production line budget. When you talk about your encumbrances, you are talking about production line stuff that can be encumbered because it is regularly occurring and you can count on it. The town, for example, got hit with $60,000 in unexpected expenses because they have gone through 1,200 tons of sand and had to order 500 tons more. And there is a default a budget. And when you have a complicated budget, you don't get to answer the questions on it by coming in one evening and having a good question. It's like playing tennis. You hit the ball 10,000 times and you understand what the pattern is and what comes next. What I will be looking for from town and school both is what Earl has taken kindly to call the outliers. I expect you to use 9, 11, or 10 rolls of toilet paper per month, per month, per month. What I want to know is what was the extraordinary expense that went up or down? Could you control it, and how are you adapting to it? For the town, there was a major, not a mistake, there has to be a better way of putting in the capital reserve funds totals what you want to get to, and you are in N number year of a Y total, and what you are going to get to the final cost, where you are, and what you were asking for this year. That wasn't there, and several people asked me, I can't figure a thing out about these warrants. So that's that. And for the humor, it is every detailed and complex question has an answer which is quick, clear, direct, and insufficient. That's the funny part. What you need to do, and let me punch my voice up, it is called Ars Technica, capital ARSTECHNIA. It is a neutral science information, fact-based, bullet-heading, great program, started as a public service, and it will give you the best and most current information on science topics like the coronavirus. And again, Ars Technica, and anybody who wants can look it up. And thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
It was interesting.
Thank you.
Welcome to
And I'm not sure if you want to expound on that one, or?
Getting involved, it's interesting.
Good, well, we certainly welcome people. And if you look around, you're gonna kind of see all the other people here who,
I just hope you have patience with me for the fact that you're already coming around turn 3, and I'm just at the starting line. So I don't mean to be a nuisance. I don't
You're
mean
not.
you haven't
Bear
been.
with me, please. I don't
Awesome.
mean to be here to be a nuisance.
Nope.
I'm here, right, because I want to retire in this town in years to come, and I don't want to be threatened by the tax burden. And that's the bottom line. I moved to this town 20 years ago, and I got involved. And this elderly woman sitting across the way said, "How long have you been in this town?" I said, "Well, I moved to this town a year ago." She goes, "You ain't been here long enough." I said, "I get it." I said, "I appreciate that." So I've been here 20 years, so I think I can get involved now.
All right, you've been around long enough. Good. Thank you very much, and you're welcome all the time, so. There you go, any other public comments? Okay, seeing none, I need a motion to go into non-public pursuant to RSA 91-A-3, Roman numeral 11, A, B, C, I, J, and K.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Oh.
Okay, he's back. All right, we are now in public session. Thank you all very much.
No.
Non-public. Thank you.